Okay. All right, so that is good. And then this week you'll have another PDF with a few assignments, and this week is all about pleasure. So last week it was about like clearing out the space, so laying the foundation for the rest of the program so that you can step into your power in the most feminine, natural way and supercharge your heart like a magnet so you can just attract life right to you. That is the intention of this whole thing. It's just like really supercharging your hearts and clearing out anything that gets in the way of us being powerful manifestors and feminine creators. And so this past week was all about dancing, and I know that Zanny, I got a few tags of you dancing. Marina, I got a few tags of you. Maybe Drea, I think maybe you sent one, and Cassandra, I think you put one out there as well, which is amazing. And I know Elizabeth, you missed last week, but it was basically just like dancing every day and just like grounding the practice of bringing dance into the body as like a daily, like either morning routine or evening routine, and just like bringing in that like primal wild essence into the body. And last week was also about going through the path of awakening. And so maybe that can help you also just like have compassion for everybody who is on a different phase of the journey. Like all the people who are not fully here and not seeing this like new world perspective, like not seeing this like, like the different levels of dimensions, like the 3D reality, the 5D reality of what's actually happening. That's okay. And everyone's at like at a different level in their path of awakening. And a lot of people right now are at their path of either still in the dark night of the soul or denying and accepting what's real and not real. And so like that phase takes a long time for the majority of people. And that's okay. And everybody just like coming at this too with like everybody is doing the best they can with the information that they have, hoping that they're making the right decision for themselves. And everyone has a different journey with fear, and that is a challenge, but just bringing that into the space today is all about working through emotions and also bringing pleasure into the body. So today is the day of the feminine, and it's specifically how our power and our sexuality are super intertwined, and how our pleasure and our power actually rise together. And so today is all about like feeling pleasure through breath, sounds, and movements, and then going into releasing shame from the body, kind of like Zanny was talking about earlier, and also going into the sisterhood wound a bit, because part of this journey is about coming into full alignment with all parts of ourselves, and part of the reason that we're in this container is for sisterhood. And so we'll talk about that at the end. And so all you have to do today is just like allow yourself to fully open and receive. And Melina, we are going to have a few props for today. So if you have a scarf or something, that's going to be useful, and then a pillow, and that will be useful. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. If you want to go and find a place that feels really comfortable, we're just going to do some movement. So somewhere where you have a little bit of space, and also we'll start with a little meditation. So we'll start seated, just like some space for you to move around a bit. So we're going to start today with some breath, movement, and if you can't see me, that's okay. I'm going to have you kind of close your eyes for this. So go ahead and get really cozy and comfortable in the body, closing down the eyes, relaxing into the ground below you. Taking a few breaths through the nose and out the mouth. More relaxation that you can bring into the body. The more you can sink into the moment. Access your creative life force energy moving throughout your chakra system. Filling the body with spaciousness on this next inhale, bringing as much oxygen into the belly, into the chest, into the crown as you can, really creating spaciousness in the shoulders. Exhaling. If you feel called to bring in some sound on your exhale, I invite you to do that. Breathing into the body, letting anything that's no longer serving you just fall down to the earth. Allowing yourself to rest and allowing your movement to stem from what feels the most natural. Maybe even feeling the rhythm of your heartbeat, breath of your body, maybe even bringing in a little movement to kind of match this wave of energy, this pulse in the body as you inhale. Almost waving up the spine and then exhaling, sinking even deeper. Just bringing in a few waves. Into the spine, creating some movement. And continuing to breathe into the nose and exhaling through the mouth. And this circular pace as you start to bring some of this movement into your back, into your chest. Creating some waves with your breath, syncing your movement and your breath. Continuing the breath, gently circling the hips. Almost like you're drawing circles with your hips. Creating more movements. And as you're circling your hips, starting to wake up the Kundalini energy. Calling in an intention for today. Maybe it was related to the card that you pulled when you first joined our session for today. Maybe it's something totally different. Bringing attention into your mind's eye. Staying connected to the breath. And bringing your hands to your womb space. Feeling the energy between your hands and your skin. Holding your attention. And creating a sense of safety in the body. And taking full ownership of what that looks like for you. If there's any way to create more safety for yourself, take this moment to do that right now. So that's just really holding yourself, be anchoring even deeper into the ground, tuning into presence in your breath, feeling safe in the comfort of your own home, feeling safe in this community of women and this sisterhood. Finding finding your method of co-regulation. And go ahead and tilt your neck to the side. And you can place one hand under your head, holding it up. And you can place the other hand on your neck, just giving a gentle massage to the side of your neck. Starting at the top, working your way to your shoulder, just bringing in a little gentle massage. And continuing to breathe in, out. Slowly, quietly turn on some music. Hopefully you can hear the music and my voice. And if you want to tilt your head to the other side, gently holding your head with one hand, massaging your neck with the other. Continuing to sink the breath. Just bringing in relaxation into the neck, into the body. Gently massaging the shoulders. I invite you to bring sound on your exhale. We're all on mute. You're in your own space. So as you breathe in on the exhale, just give a little hearing your own sounds. And slowly working your way into your collarbone. Just massaging the collarbone, the front of your shoulders. Continuing to breathe. Can you guys hear the music or no? I can turn it up a little louder. No. Okay. Just continuing to massage. We'll just do a few more moments of this massage. And slowly working your way down, right above your breast, just massaging just around the breast, just like creating some more spaciousness in your chest. Opening up the chest, even breathing deeper to receive more love, gentle circles.
We will act immediately on the more troubling aspect of this report.
I'm bringing in just a little massage around your hips. Just right above the glutes, just giving yourself a little bit of love, your hips and the top of your glutes, maybe your love handles, you could call it. Giving your love handles a little love. Wherever you are, if you are in a place where you can come down to the ground. And you can go ahead and continue massaging your hips and your glutes. And we'll go ahead and just connect to the ground beneath you. Maybe just feeling the texture of the earth below you. Maybe it's a rug, maybe it's a floor, but just allowing your fingertips to graze the earth below you. And to graze your body and the earth below you. Just like bringing in some touch and pleasure. Exploring how you can connect your root to different parts of the floor below you. Continuing to spiral the hips. And exploring your senses here. Maybe you run your arms along the floor. And maybe even finding the same rhythm of the earth. If you're picturing a wave coming in and then crashing into the surface, allowing your body to kind of mirror what that would feel like with your breath and your movements. Like a wave. Allowing the fullness of you to come alive. And the radiance of your heart expanding and becoming and opening up the chest with a deeper breath. Allowing more spaciousness into the heart center as you continue moving in waves. And now bring your intention back into your body and start waving this intention with your movement. I'm going to play a different song. Start weaving together there's a manifestation that you're calling in right now. Feeling the essence of that around you. Can you bring in even a little bit more edge and commitment to this practice? Let it feel to tune in just a little bit deeper. The hips, creating even more circling of the upper body. Circling the neck. Feeling any resistance falling away. With every breath. Letting go of any resistance, even in your cheeks, in your jaw, shoulders. I invite you to place a hand on your heart. And I'm going to ask you to go ahead and grab your scarves. You're going to actually put these on as blindfolds, which you might have already figured by now. We'll go ahead and just tie it gently around your face or just lay it over your face. Beautiful. Amazing. And now, however you feel, we'll start sitting. So you can kind of get comfortable just moving in the body. And start by just bringing in some deep circles into the hips, bringing in the most natural movement. There's no right or wrong to this practice. And you can't actually see me. This is about tapping in to the way that your body really wants to move and really wants to receive. You can start by just stroking your arm. Let your intense body body, make your legs more below you. As you feel called, just make your way up to all fours. Looks like you're in cat and cow. Just bringing in some more circles. The hips. Really a test of surrender. How deeply can you surrender to you? Just noticing your edge, noticing a boundary. Allowing yourself to explore even a deeper movement. Maybe that means that as you're ready, slowly standing up. Finding more movement in the body. And now knowing that you can't really see, just go ahead and sense the space around you. Allowing yourself to trust yourself that you know your body. And just sensing the objects around you, bringing in more movement and sensuality into the body.
Breathe.
Maybe bringing in more touch in the body, your breath. Into the rhythm of the music, feeling the breath. Allow yourself, let it completely be the guide. Knowing that there is no perfection. Allowing your neck to be free, your arms to be free, your hips. Before you touch your body, never move before, especially blindfolded. Keep your breath bringing your hair into your scalp, giving yourself a scalp
Breathe.
massage. Slowly. You can keep your eyes closed and take a moment and place your hands on your heart. And just feeling what feels alive right now. Allowing any emotion to exist without any shame, without any judgment. And just acknowledging what your body wants to tell you in this moment. There's no right or wrong, good or bad. But asking yourself what you need right now. And giving gratitude for yourself. And giving some loving touch to your body. Maybe a gentle hug. Maybe a long, big hug. And with your eyes closed, feeling the heartbeat of the other woman in this space. Feeling your heartbeat almost synced with everyone else's. And feeling into all of the incredible women in your life. All of the women that are supporting you, all of the women that love you. And feeling into how much you love them and care for them. Feeling how much love you have in your heart to give. And when you're ready, you can come back to this sisterhood and allow yourself to be witnessed in this moment. And slowly removing the blindfold. And taking a moment for some eye contact. And just really seeing each other in this space. And just sending some loving vibes to every other woman here. Let's all take a deep breath together, breathing in. And exhaling. And I'd love to take a few moments to share. I would love to hear how that felt for you, where your edges lied, if you found it challenging or easy, if you found it beautiful surrendering, or if you found it challenging surrendering. How was it being blindfolded? So we'll just take a few moments. Not everybody has to share, but everybody can share if you'd like. If anyone feels called to, I'd love to hear from you.
Minus the fact that I chose the heaviest scarf possible to blindfold myself with. It was really great. No, I loved it. There was one point, like I let myself go, which was my intention, was to like release and let go. And I felt like I was like pushing edges, but then like towards the end, I like heard a noise and I kind of was like, oh, is someone like there? Like what's going on? And but then I'm like, oh, I'm safe, like came back to it. So it was really cool.
That's beautiful. Did you feel that someone was in the room?
I thought the door had opened. Yeah, I was like, well, this will be interesting. This will be a fun conversation later.
I love that.
But whatever. If it did, it did.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing. Would anyone else like to express?
Yeah, I will. I like being blindfolded because it does kind of like just allow you to just fully surrender and like allow you to just get into the movement. I like at one point I realized, or like I remember that this window was open and I was like, oh my goodness, what do my neighbors see me? And then I was like, whatever, you know. So yeah, so it was kind of cool just to be able to like feel into the body. And I don't know, like it was like a way of surrendering and just listening to what your body needs and like what your body feels like doing.
Yes. Thank you for sharing. Beautiful. Would anyone else like to share?
Yeah, I love dancing blindfold. It's yeah, it really makes me connect to my body and how it needs to express with no attachments on how do I look or what. And yeah, like it's really like following the body, like, oh, I want to stretch here, oh no, I really want to cuddle myself, like I'm at service of my body. And yeah, it wouldn't make sense like in a choreograph, but it's just a very deep connection. Yeah, blindfold is the best. And I just felt like I was like super loving and cuddling myself and like almost like in a sensual way dancing with myself. And yeah, I went like from little kid to like sensual goddess touching myself to like I just want to stretch and like nourish myself. So that's cool.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. It's beautiful. Would anyone else like to share?
I can go. So we did this on Chelsea's retreat in Mexico, by the beach in this past December. So I've done this before, but what was interesting that like what came up for me is like when I was dancing, I mean, I didn't actually have like a legit scarf. It was like kind of a blanket, but like I kind of wanted to take it off. Like I was like, I want to see everything and I want to like just like witness everything. And I like it's been like a really cool journey of me, like because I used to like feel like I would want to hide and not show myself, and now I feel like I'm like coming into like a new part of me where I'm like I want to be seen and I want to see others. So I was actually having resistance to the blindfold. But yeah, I love this exercise too, though. It's fun. And I think it's really beautiful as well. So I just thought it was kind of funny. It was like, I want to just see everyone.
Yes. Amazing. Thank you for sharing. Amazing. Cassie, would you like to share anything? Cassandra?
Yeah, I mean, this is like usually my favorite thing. I'm just experiencing a lot of physical pain right now that it's hard for me to move freely at the moment. So it's just like, I think I'm getting stuck on that. But yeah, usually this is a nice, like Marina shared it. I'm like, that's how I usually feel. It's like once I'm a child and then I'm a, I'm a goddess. It's like, that's how I usually feel. But I feel like I've kind of lost my mojo in it at the moment just because of my physical pains right now that have been brought to my attention. My body's letting me know it's injured in a sense. You know what I mean?
Is that in your breast area or is this somewhere else?
My neck and my shoulders. I can't lift this arm right now very well, and it's my last year. This arm was impinged for 6 months where I couldn't lift my arm or do yoga or anything. And last week, this shoulder impinged, and that was when I figured out that there's a nerve through my shoulders that is impinging both of my, based on my movements and misalignments, and it's the part where my breast is actually the implants behind my muscle, and it's misaligning in my body. And so it's causing all these problems. And so, like, I don't know, it's weird. Once I became aware of it and I knew what it was and I was certain, all of a sudden it's like all the stuff I'd been ignoring is screaming at me. So it's like once this arm started acting up and then I got that message, all of a sudden it's very prevalent at the moment, maybe because I'm thinking about it a lot, I don't know. But it's hard for me to get out of it to do this exercise, but I want to. I kind of feel like I'm not fully participating, but yeah.
We are in the exact way that you're meant to. That's beautiful. Amazing. Thank you for sharing. Okay. So I would love for us to take out our journals and let me go ahead and share. So has everyone here heard of the hero's journey? I imagine yes. And if you haven't, I'm going to share. There's something else called the heroine's journey. Maybe you've seen this, maybe not, but basically we took the hero's journey and kind of transformed it into the heroine's journey. And so this is an interesting little spiral of progression in the masculine and feminine. And so there's this like urgent yearning to reconnect with the feminine, healing the mother-daughter split, healing the wounded masculine, integration of the masculine and the feminine, and then suddenly a separation from the feminine, identification with the masculine, gathering of allies, roads of trials, meeting ogres and dragons as part of the hero's journey, finding the boon of success, awakening to feelings of spirituality through death and rebirth, kind of like we were talking about, ascent to the goddess, initiation and ascent to the goddess, and then a desire to reconnect with the goddess. So this is an interesting little diagram that talks about kind of like the heroine's journey. So like a woman's journey, especially in our patriarchal society right now. And a lot of women are experiencing this journey. And so we're going to be going through beautifully a lot of this cycle throughout this process. And most people don't go through this journey. Like there's a lot of people that are in their 50s that are still not waking up to their feminine. So like no matter where we are in this cycle and in this journey, we are more embodied than like the majority of the population. And so there's no like, oh, I'm only here or I'm only here or whatever. Like we are all on this journey in the exact same moment all together. And it doesn't matter if we are, 10 years of a tantra teacher or just beginning, day one of the journey. Like this is a journey that all of society is going through kind of collectively. And this is kind of where we're all heading with the new earth as well, like this new version of how we lead in the world, how we show up in the world, how we live in this world, how we earn in this world. It's like all coming down to stepping into the feminine and shifting from, this competition to more collaboration, shifting from this scarce mentality to this abundant mentality, shifting from this victimhood to sovereignty. And all of these ways is all kind of tied into this new earth movement and kind of like shifting into the feminine energy and leading from the heart and feeling, power sourced from within versus externally. Like we're all kind of feeling all of these shifts happening at the same time, and collectively we're experiencing them like across the world. So we're going to talk a little bit about the feminine archetypes. And as I'm going through this, I love for you, and we'll take time to journal um, through each of these, but just feeling into how do I embody the qualities of this archetype? And where am I out of balance and where am I in balance? And maybe you've worked with the archetypes a lot. Like I know that like the archetypes are like a really important part of my journey in my life. And it's also because they switch and shift so often. And at different points of our lives, we'll find ourselves working with different archetypes. And obviously, this, a lot of what we're doing here focuses on the wild woman archetype. But even as we're focusing on the wild woman, all of ourselves can come online. So I'll go ahead and share. And as I'm sharing, just go ahead and take some notes for yourself of where does this resonate for you and where does this not resonate for you? Where are you feeling imbalanced? Where are you feeling out of balance? Where are you feeling maybe some of the shadow elements come through and where are you feeling the light elements come through? So we'll go ahead, we'll start with the maiden archetype. So the maiden is this youthful, feminine, innocent, vulnerable, virgin-like archetype. She is full of enthusiasm and authenticity. She's confident in her skin and practical. She is fresh and new to experiences. So she's kind of like this vulnerable archetype that lives inside of us. That's very almost like when out of balance, she becomes the damsel in distress. So we can kind of think of like this archetype and then and like being in this need to rescue, living in a fantasy or being overly logical. And when balanced, she's living from the heart. She's empowered in her uniqueness and she's responsible. So we can kind of go ahead and just like look at these and feel into where am I expressing my maiden archetype? Where am I out of balance with my maiden archetype? Where am I in balance with my maiden archetype? How connected to my maiden am I? And where am I potentially rejecting parts of her? So just take a moment and journal about the maiden archetype. And just acknowledging that, like, maybe, like, for instance, every time you revisit this exercise, like, let's say you've worked with these archetypes before, you'll notice that where you're at shifts. Like, for instance, a year ago, I was super out of touch with my inner mother archetype. And now my mother archetype is coming online hardcore. And we can all go through and give examples of that in our lives. But so yeah, where's the maiden for you? Like, where's your comfort with vulnerability? Where do you lean into your softness? Do you allow yourself to be youthful and innocent? Are there parts of yourself that potentially reject the childlike innocence or reject the playfulness, or just prefer not to experience that, or prefer to yeah, just lean away from that? So just taking a moment. And next we have the wild woman. So the wild woman is primal, free, spiritually connected, and culturally this has been suppressed and it's waiting to unleash in women around the world. That is all why we are here. And honestly, around the world, this is both men and women, this is going to become the thing, at least over the next 3 years, while we're going through this, like, you know, the first phase of the shift. This is going to be the thing that's coming online for people. She dances to the beat of her own drum. She's in tune with her body and her spirit. She goes against the norms, following the calling of her heart. She responds because it feels right in her body, not because other people tell her to. She's connected to her menstrual cycle. She realizes she's the source of her own power. When this is repressed, it comes out in rebellion and destruction. And so, for instance, the wild woman in its shadow is prioritizes freedom over responsibility, is rebellious and like is very almost like anti-rules to the point of being disrespectful to other people. And when she's in balance, she changes the world. At least that's my perspective. But when she's in balance, she's in tune with her heart. She's in tune with nature. She's very connected to her spirituality, to the mystery of life. So where does your wild woman feel balanced? Where does she feel imbalanced? Where does she want to come out and play more? Where does she feel discomfort? Amazing. Next, we have the lover. So the lover archetype is vivacious. She's open-hearted. She's connection seeking. She's intimacy desiring. She wants to feel all of the love of the entire universe. She's connected to her body, to her sensual side, to her sexuality. She loves being seen and she loves being known. She's magnetic. She wants to enjoy the pleasures of life. In her shadow, she can never get enough love. She's always seeking and needing more attention. She's giving her power away in order to receive more love, using her sexuality to get what she wants in unhealthy ways. When she's in balance, she's in her body, at home, connected to her deepest longing. So just feeling into your own heart. And feeling into where your lover is in balance, where she's out of balance, where she wants to come online more and express more of herself, where she is potentially hiding and not wanting to express or wanting to be seen here, or where there's any fear around this. If there's any shame wrapped up in the lover or any trauma wrapped up in the lover archetype. And this one is also deeply connected to, I guess they're all connected to the voice, but this one in particular is connected to the sound, like sounding. And for this one, it's like, how well do you receive how open is the heart? And where can you express her even more in your life? Where are places that you can bring her out even further? We're moving into the Libra new moon tomorrow. This is all about partnership. So Libra is the sign, the 7th house of partnership. And so tomorrow we are setting intentions around giving and receiving in our relationships. And so you can even take some time tomorrow, I'd recommend, to just like craft, like, where am I receiving and giving equally, and where am I out of balance in my relationships? And just like bringing those intentions forward of how to come into deeper alignment there. And it's also connected to the lover. The lover is Venus. Libra is the sign of Venus along with Taurus. Beautiful. Okay. Next, we have the mother. So the mother archetype. The mother is nurturing, selfless, protective, devoted, fertile, fruitful, abundant, generous, unconditional, and compassionate. She provides for her creations at any cost. She nurtures her creations, whether it's in her work or her babies, with an inner strength and artfulness, presence, attention, and care, allowing separation and freedom as needed. She takes care of herself and her environment, nurturing her mind, body, and spirit as a necessity. When out of balance, she can become overbearing and smothering. When in balance, she's the embodiment of Mother Earth. So just feeling into this for yourself. Where does your mother archetype really come out? Like for me, I felt this super strongly one day when I was in Tulum driving down the road, and I saw a car crash into a light pole, and I ran over there and I heard these kids screaming in the back, and I like pulled out the children, and I noticed that the father driving was drunk, and my motherly instincts kicked on in a second, and I was just like, save the children, let's get the mother to the side. And I just like felt my mother in a way, my inner mother in a way that I've never felt her before, like when it comes to like protection and the power of that mother. And my own shadow of the mother is my wild woman really seeks freedom a lot. And I found myself during the quarantine not fully nurturing my creations. I wasn't fully leaning in and building them up and just giving them as much love as I could. I was finding myself creating something and then seeking, like specifically, I created this community called the Chrysalis. And some of you guys, most of you guys will have a chance to maybe experience this at the end. We're having an online festival at the end of this. And there was a part of myself where I built up like 1,000-person community. And then I kind of wanted to feel free. And I had to, in a mushroom journey, I realized that this was the case. And I had to really look at myself and be like, wow, like this is really important. My wild woman wants to be free. And my mother wanted to come online. And then I experienced another version. I've been working with the mother a lot this year. And during my ayahuasca ceremony, I realized I was ready to become a mother. And I was ready to fully nurture and hold my people so beautifully and so tightly and just give them kisses and just like love them. And I fully became the mother. And that day, my brother found out that he was pregnant with his wife. And so it was just like this confirmation of like, wow, like I really have been working on that and was able to like step into that and transmute that energy. And so like, as we're working on one, we may find that like one outshines the other. Like my wild woman was outshining my mother, and my mother wanted to come online more. And so this year was for me about like really stepping into my inner mother. And so maybe there's a place in your life where you're doing that. I know that was a long story, but if you're finding yourself in certain ways not fully nurturing things or fully like leaving things before they're actually taken off, or we find ourselves doing this when we set intentions and we ask for them, and if they don't immediately come to fruition, we say, oh, okay, well, maybe we should switch or do something different. You know, so these are all signs that our mother wants to come online even further. And maybe we're not super in touch with Mother Earth. We're not walking barefoot on the grass. We're not connecting with nature. We're not really honoring her. And maybe we totally are. And maybe for you, it's that you are taking care of everybody in your life and you are like really playing out that mother archetype, and you are the mother of your group, and just like acknowledging that. Next, we have the Queen, one of my favorites. I love the Queen. The Queen is empowered. She's sovereign. She knows her worth. She's in her power. She's never doubting herself. She knows her gifts. She's a natural born leader. She's surrounded by the best mentors and guides. People have her back, and she's not afraid to invest in herself. She is worth everything. She demands the best, and she doesn't settle. She knows her voice is powerful, and her words create impact. Her actions have a ripple effect. She isn't trying to be a master. She creates change in the world through service and leadership and treating others as equals. And so this is the journey that we are all ultimately going on. And obviously all of these are where we're ultimately going. But part of this course is also stepping into our inner queen, and it's accessing it through the other archetypes. So the queen comes to surface when all of our other archetypes fully come online. And when I say online, I don't know, I've just been saying that all day today. Just like a phrase I picked up, but just like coming to the surface. I think I've been online a lot, just like coming to the surface. And so when all of our other archetypes are in alignment and in balance and activated, that's when our queen becomes activated. And so throughout this whole journey, you know, every single week is about us stepping into the queen, but we're doing it through accessing different parts of ourselves. And so where in your life are you fully embodying your queen? And where are you wanting to step into her even more? And so for you, maybe it's, where are you not fully investing in yourself? Where are you shying away from sharing your gifts? Where are you fully standing in your voice powerfully? And where are you like fully honoring and noticing, you know, and acknowledging your leadership? And so maybe this, obviously this is different for everyone. These are just examples. But just like really feeling into the self, like where does your queen want to come out even further? And maybe that's stepping into your worth and charging your worth. I know some people are about to launch courses. Maybe that's not settling. Or even in partnership, maybe that's really honoring your needs and expressing them and having certain standards and just knowing that that is what you need in that moment and really honoring yourself in that. Maybe it's surrounding yourself with mentors doing exactly what you want to be doing. Like I know there's a few people in here that are ready to like create their dream life, surrounding themselves with people that are in it and doing it, becoming the average of the people that you're around, like following different types of people on social media and just getting into the frequency and the vibration of already having that. And maybe it's also not doing everything yourself. Maybe forming a team, finding people that are in alignment with your vision and collaborating. And lastly, we have the crone. The crone is all about maturity, wisdom, compassion, integrity. She's connected to Mother Earth. There's a deep inner knowing that exists within her. She's a master of transformation. And this is also, she's very in touch with death and rebirth. She's the master of cycles of life. She's the representation of truth and understanding, a skillful guide, a seeker of meaning of life. She's connected to her ancestors, passing down stories and mythology. She also holds the essence of Kali. So the crone is the death and the rebirth. She is the transcendence. She is the knowingness of the dark energies. So the shadow of the crone would be dark magic and connecting with the darkness of the energy. The light would be tapping into that innate wisdom and sharing it. So the crone is wise, an old soul. She's in touch with that death and rebirth. And so for you, how easily is it to have those cycles of death and rebirth and release and start fresh and start new, acknowledging a level up or a next cycle or a level sideways. Beautiful. So take another few moments to journal about where you're in balance. And now looking at all of these, which archetype do you resonate the most with? Maybe you have like a top two. And which archetype do you want to experience more of? Which archetype do you feel rejection towards? Or do you feel your shadows live the most in? And what do you need? What would you like to step into in order to embody more of these archetypes and to feel more in alignment and more in balance? What is something that you'd like to bring more of into your life in general? So I'd love for everyone to just share or type in the chat actually. What do you embody the most of, or what are you already embodying right now the most? And then which archetype do you want to embody more of? So Zanny identifies with the wild woman and the lover. She wants to embody more of the queen and the mother. Beautiful. Amazing. Elizabeth resonates most with the crone and the maiden. Wow, that's amazing. And would like to embody more of the queen and the wild woman. Okay, beautiful. I love it. The crone and the maiden are on opposite spectrums, so that's very cool. I love that. Marina, she embodies the maiden and the wild woman and the lover the most. She wants to embody more of the mother, the queen, and the crone. Beautiful. Drea resonates most with the mother and the crone. And she wants to embody more of the wild woman and the maiden. Yes, amazing. And then I think Cassandra's typing still. For me, I feel that I embody most of the wild woman and the queen, and I want to bring more online the mother and the lover. I want still to bring on more of that mother and my lover. I have a story about that. Cassandra wants to embody, she embodies the most the maiden and the mother. And she would like to embody more of the wild woman and the queen. She's been in the shadow element of the lover before this healing journey. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. It's amazing. Okay. So now we're going to talk about Eros, our life force energy. Ow, ow! This is the most powerful, potent magnetic energy on the planet. It's our Kundalini energy, our erotic energy moving through our system. And this is all connected to our sacral chakra, which is responsible for our creativity, our sensuality, and our abundance. And so our creativity arises from a relaxed root. So that's why we keep starting with these safety practices and allowing ourselves to get really relaxed in our bodies, because that's when our creativity turns online. And we allow ourselves to surrender when we feel a sense of safety. So Elizabeth, you said you love surrendering and you love being in that state. And for a lot of us, like the feeling of safety allows us to actually get there, especially when we're in a romantic partnership. And so a lot of women want to feel taken by men and ravished by men and all of these things. And in order to actually feel that way, we have to be able to surrender. And in order to surrender, we have to be able to feel safe in that connection. And safety is a unique journey for each of us. So through dance, we can kind of determine what allows us to feel safe. And when we engage with a partner, we can bring those same sort of methodologies into our connections to kind of create that same safety and sense of connection. And this is all about also like relaxing our nervous system so that we could become more magnetic. When our nervous system is really high, we're not actually able to relax and receive. We're actually like pushing out and creating walls of resistance. And so if we want to become more magnetic, our walls have to come down and release. And so that's why sexuality is so important. Like the same laws that apply to our sexuality also apply to all other areas of our life. And so if we can really allow ourselves to step in, and I'm not going to say master because nobody ever masters anything in life, but when we can allow ourselves to really like focus on this area of life, we can start seeing it rippling out to the way that we lead and the way that we hold space and the way that we hold space for ourselves and others, the way that we create spaciousness in the body for our emotions to move freely and uninhibited. And so part of this journey is about really like relaxing into the nervous system. And that's the difference between being reactive and being responsive. So last week we did a whole practice about handling triggers. And it was all about learning to step into responsiveness over reactivity. And you can kind of hear the difference. Like reactivity is like our first reaction. It's like the thing that we want to do the most. Like, I'm feeling this thing. Ah! And our response is like settling into ourselves, breathing, and then responding. And so when we're able to kind of like allow our nervous system to relax, we can kind of like relax our defenses and our triggers and respond a little bit more in our bodies. And so in astrology, the 8th house, or Scorpio, rules sexuality and power. So Scorpio is the sign of intimacy, death, and rebirth. And it's like the dark feminine that holds like this deep innate power and intensity. And so when we can access this, really what we're doing is we're accessing the full range of our emotional expression, like the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. And Scorpio is the energy that sits at like the bottom of the ocean. So it's a water sign. So we have like, you know, Pisces, the fish, we have Cancer, you know, kind of more at the top of the water. And then we have Scorpio, like deep in the water. And Scorpio is the most likely to be able to hold and transmute darkness into light. And because of the range of emotional expression, and we can all tap into this energy and allow ourselves to really bring that forward. And so every time we have an emotional reaction, we have one of 4 choices. We can suppress it, or repress it, right? We can escape, we can express it, or we can release it. And we're going to go through a process of releasing it today. And so when we let's say with expressing it, when we're suppressing it, what are some examples of suppression? So I don't have an idea. Either say that loud. Yeah.
Addiction.
Yes. An addiction might be a little bit more of the escape, but that is a manifestation of suppression, because we have that choice of like what happens next. So totally, addiction, yes. Repression is almost like shoving it down, like bottling it up, like keeping those emotions inside, and just like really like keeping ourselves kind of protected. And then just like Zanny said, escapism is it can manifest in addiction, compulsive behavior, like leaving the room, right? Or avoidance, or like drinking or eating, right? These are all like things that we go to be like, I don't know if I can feel comfortable with this. I'm going to do this. Then we have expression, which is kind of what we're doing this whole time, which is like dancing, moving, letting it out, making art, making music. You know, we're going to do a few things in here to really like express ourselves. And or, you know, writing, or, you know, just channeling it somewhere into a video. Exercising is another one. And then we have release, which is what we're going to do today. Because everybody always asks me, well, what is release? How do we release? How is it different from expression? I'm going to show you how it's different from expression. So we're going to go into that today, and bringing in the energy of Scorpio, and bringing in the intensity and the diversity of emotional expression in this, and just allowing all of that to just come up for ourselves without holding back, without any shame. And so it's going to be a pretty intense process. And it's going to be take some emotional energy. We're not going to do the whole thing. You know, normally this process can take an hour. This is something that we would do in a retreat, right? But we are here going to do I'm going to take you through 2 cycles of it. And then this is going to be what you practice throughout the week. So, and you can do this anytime. This is where we're going to use your pillows for. So when we hold a lot of our emotion in our sacral chakra, and this is where we also hold trauma, we hold depression, we hold addiction, we hold sexual tension. And so this process of release and expression helps us bring these energies at least out of the body. And it doesn't mean that we don't integrate it with the mind, because we always want to integrate it with the mind and actually reframe the way that we thought about it so that we can actually totally remove it from both the body and the mind, right? But it's really important to not just do the mind. And so this process helps us move it out of the body. And throughout this process, we're also teaching ourselves not to judge ourselves, because sometimes when emotion comes up, the first thing we want to do is switch our emotional state to the absolute opposite emotion, or just try to get it to go away and push it out, right? And so this process allows us to lean into these emotions and to know that our emotions are so sacred, so welcome, so beautiful, so needed. And they're actually our fuel for creativity, right? Emotions are energy in motion. And all of this is for the feminine. This is what fuels us. This is what keeps us going. This is what brings us into our creative juices and brings us flow. And this is what brings us our magnetism, especially when we can transmute that darkness into lightness, and we can do it through the body. And when we're not doing this, we start seeing some of this manifest through the body into disease, like dis-ease in the body, right? Like some people hold the anxiety in their stomach and in their belly, and they develop irritable bowel syndrome. You know, some people develop it into their heart, and they develop, you know, like some heart palpitations or something. Some people develop it in their sacral chakra, and they have, you know, reproductive issues. And so we all manifest our emotions in our body when we're not releasing them and expressing them, which a lot of us know that, right? Like we're all doing this kind of work, but a lot of people still haven't. What we're going to do today is bring in this emotional release process so that we can all do this together. And Mother Nature is the perfect example of this. Right here on this deck, you can't really see this, but maybe you saw the video of it in the last video we did. We had this like huge event here. They had like 50 people, and all of a sudden during the event, we did this like mushroom ceremony on the roof, and we had like this music sound bowls, like sound healing. It was just like this beautiful thing. And then it started pouring rain, and everyone just got up and everyone kind of ran. And then everyone was like, wait, this is the coolest thing. And all of a sudden there was like thunder and lightning and this like wild, like chaotic storm. And slowly, one by one, we started getting out there and just like taking our hands and like moving the water below us and just like getting into the rain. And then the lightning would come down, and we were all playing with the lightning and the thunder and just like feeling Mother Nature and her emotional depth. And I've never felt such emotional depth, because we just had a hurricane like right before the storm. And so it was like all of the leftovers from the hurricane, and just like feeling the depth of the emotions, like wanting to be just released. And I was like, that is an emotional release. Like Mother Earth fucking gets it. And then I also felt her just like after, just like coming into this beautiful space of like wanting to be held, and just like remembering, like, I'm not here to chaotically destroy this planet, because Mother Earth and her chaos, she could destroy herself, right? Like Mother Earth, when she is in her chaos, you know, like trees can fall down, and you know, like things can happen with the earth, you have a hurricane, like houses get broken and things. And so there's this reminder at the end of the day of like, the point isn't to self-destruct. The point is to release and then come back into center and then gently calm down with just a little bit of thunder into this beautiful space of love. And so after we end this call today, the call isn't over. The ceremony is just beginning. So just like allowing yourself to hug yourself, to hold yourself, to be with yourself, to give yourself kisses and hugs and love, and to drink some water. You're going to want to drink some water after this, and just like allow yourself to just like re-nourish yourself like Mother Earth would do. And so for this, we're going to need a pillow. We're going to come to our space where we feel good sitting or wherever, maybe on the floor. I'm going to do it right here. And so for this, I'm going to do it once without music to just demonstrate. And then I'm going to do it again, and we're all going to do this together. And we're just going to do it a couple times. And after this, I do want to kind of like integrate into a little message. So we're not done, but after the call, just come back to this place, come back into your body and nourish yourself and give yourself some love. So many of you guys have done this before. Maybe you haven't actually ever done this before, but this is an emotional release, or you can call it sacred rage. And so what we're going to do is we're going to move through 5 different exercises, and we're going to come into this place. I'm actually going to plug my microphone for this. You can still hear me, right? Okay, amazing. Thanks, Drea. So I always see her over there doing this. You got me. So what we're going to do is the first one is we're actually going to stand for the first one. So, and you don't have to do this. You could just watch me for now. We're going to take our hands and we're going to cup them. And what we're going to do is we're going to yell into our hands silently. So we're going to go and we're going to allow ourselves to get into our body. We're going to take our hands and go. And we're going to do it 5 times, okay? As much as we can with our power from our solar plexus. Then we're going to take our pillow and we're going to do the same thing, this time bringing in our voice. So we're going to take our pillow and we're going to go. Okay, so we're going to yell into our pillow. Okay. Next, we're going to do this one around stomping our feet and stomping our hands. So we're going to go. We're going to do it for a minute. Okay. Then we're going to do this tantrum. So wherever your floor is, wherever you're sitting, and I'm going to do this with you as well. We're going to go like this. We're going to stomp our feet, stomp our hands, and get out all of our emotions. And then we're going to take our pillows. So we're on number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 5. We're going to take our pillows. We're going to put them in front of us like this. I don't know if you can see me actually. And we're going to go. And we're going to hit our pillow with as much force as we possibly can. And as we do this, we're almost going to move our body like a wave. And we're going to hit the pillow in front of us. Okay? So everyone got it? Okay. Is anyone scared? Okay. Let's just think maybe. Okay. It's going to be awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and put on some music. And I'm going to walk you through this. I just want to make sure that you can hear both me. Let me find a good song before we do this. So go ahead and find your space as I'm picking the song that's going to activate the thing that we need the most right now. Okay, this one will work. So can you guys hear me? Let me actually make sure you can hear it. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and start by standing. And the first thing we're gonna do is taking our hands. We're gonna do side to side. And I actually want you to do it, but like stuff like that. Okay? Got that? So we're gonna do it 5 times. Ready? And go ahead. Feel it in your core even more. Hold on, the 5th one, we're gonna take your pillow. So go ahead and you're gonna yell into the pillow. Ready? Go ahead. You can order your mind even more with your pillow clutching. One more. Oh, the last one. One more. Now we're gonna dump our give it all your energy. Are you gonna come to the ground? And last time. A few more. Beautiful. Okay, we're gonna do this one more time. Right. Amazing. So go ahead and we're gonna start. Then all your might. Really feel yourself releasing energy. Bringing in anything that you can, letting it go. Making your way down to the ground. Stomp on the floor. So Zanny, really all the way up to the floor. Like, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Woo! Last one, pillow. last one. Woo. Amazing. Taking a release in the throat, taking some water. Connecting with your heart. Connecting to the place of you that actually really does have anger. And connecting to the place inside of you that really feels something being activated during this process. Maybe you feared expressing anger. Maybe it's not comfortable. Maybe it's very comfortable and you really want to keep going until it's really released. Wherever you are, acknowledging that process, acknowledging the power of this process. And I invite you to continue with this process throughout the week at your own time, taking 30 minutes to run through this 5 times and actually bringing your emotions into this. So here it might have been just a practice. It might have been a little funny. Or maybe it wasn't, and maybe you really felt yourself. But this week, I encourage you to lean into that just a little bit more, to do that again, and to just allow whatever is inside to really come through. And afterwards, to step into that mother archetype and to nurture yourself, to give yourself water, to give you what you need. Okay, amazing, Zanny. Yes, totally. Yes, I'll definitely give you that song too. And I really wanted to end today with talking a little bit about shame. And Zanny, I know you have to go, and I know that you're also, oh, she already left. That's okay. Okay, so do you guys have 5 more minutes, or do you guys have a hard stop at the top of the hour? It's okay if you have a hard stop. Treya's good. Elizabeth's good. Okay, awesome. Okay, so I just want to take 5 more minutes just to like integrate this. I really love listening to your shares, and I definitely did not time them today. And that's just something for me I'll do next time. But I want to finish with this because it is really important. Just to kind of like acknowledge this, to go into this, and then I'll give you a little homework assignment beyond this, because this is really important. Okay, and then I do want to go over the homework a little bit. So when we talk about, there's this story that I love to tell, and it's called Good Luck, Bad Luck, Who Knows? And it's the story of, it's this old Buddhist story. And there is this guy, this son, who is taking his horse out for, the father says, will you please watch my horse? You know, I need to go. Can you watch my horse? And he says, sure. Just want to make sure. Is everyone good? Yeah. Just in case. Okay. And so the son says, oh my gosh, father, the horse ran away. I'm so sorry. And the father the father goes, it's okay. Good luck, bad luck, who knows? And he's like, well, but he ran away. And he's like, it's okay. And the next day the horse comes back with a mate. And the son goes, father, the horse came back and he brought a mate. And the father goes, good luck, bad luck, who knows? The next day, the son was training this new horse and fell off of it and broke his leg. And he goes, father, I fell off the horse and I sprained my ankle. And the father goes, good luck, bad luck, who knows? The next day, the military comes knocking on the door, drafting people for the military, and they're looking for healthy men. And he goes, oh my gosh, what luck. I didn't have to go because I'm hurt. And the father goes, good luck, bad luck, who knows? And the story keeps going on. And the moral of the story is, we never know, even if something feels like good luck or if it feels like bad luck in the moment, we never actually know. And so this journey is all about a journey of just surrendering to what is and just acknowledging the present moments and being fully present and not trying to have expectations on the future or trying to change the past. And you know, like we always get into these spaces where we're like, oh, I wish I would have done this, or gosh, I can't believe this happened, or you know, I hope this happens. You know, I just started seeing this guy and my first instinct was, are we going to start dating? Are we? And I know I talked about this guy last time, Oscar. We talked and, you know, he listened to my heart. And so my being is like, well, are we going to date? Like, are we whatever? And there's a part of me that's like, the present moment is all that we know, literally in every moment. And there may be a time where it is totally meant to be together. And there's a time where we don't need to be together anymore. And I don't need to know the ending of this story. And all I need to know is like divine will is going to determine what happens. And like me asking these questions is not helping anyone, or it's not even productive. And it's placing, we have these tendencies to place expectations on the future or to want to change the past. And so this story kind of reminds us that like the present is the best place to be. We never really know. And so going into this, I just kind of love to start this whole conversation by saying our past is sacred, and everything that we've experienced in our past is directly leading to the person that we are now. And so a lot of times our past is filled with sexual shame, or things that we've done that we aren't proud of, or things that other people have shamed us for. And potentially those things have happened to be our biggest gift, to be our biggest purpose in the world, and literally the reason that we exist. And when it comes to emotions, you know, the biggest thing that came up in the retreat that I just held was, especially with women that were deeply into Christianity in their past, emotions were demonic. And there was a fear of expressing emotions out of fear of being seen as demonic. Because a lot of like religions will like say, oh, wow, this isn't good. Like, you know, you're experiencing these things. We have to take it out of you. And, you know, in our culture now, we know that it's not demons, it's energy that needs to be released from the body because emotions have been pent up. And we also experience the opposite of that, where sometimes we feel like we're too much and our expression is too much, especially women. Men always have the complex of I'm not enough. Women always have the complex of I'm too much. Like my emotions are too much. It's overwhelming. I feel like I have just so much, right? And so this is the dynamic that we all experience. And so I'd love for you in your journals to just write, what does shame mean to you? What does it mean to have shame? We'll just start with that. What does it mean to have shame? And secondly, have you ever felt shame for sleeping with somebody? And what did that feel like in the body, in your being? And where did that come from? And the next question I have is, have you ever allowed your boundaries to be crossed sexually? And how did that impact you? Or have your boundaries ever been crossed sexually? Maybe it wasn't something that you allowed. And lastly, have you ever been shamed by somebody else for your sexuality? From expressing too much, or being too much, or for sleeping with somebody, or for any sort of judgments? And what did that feel like? And if you have a specific situation, just bring that into your mind, maybe write it down. there was one specific area where you felt shame sexually come up. What was the situation and how did you handle it at the time? And what story did you make yourself believe about yourself? Like, what story did you create around how you believed yourself to be because of this? Or like, what belief did you hold about yourself because of this? So what belief did you hold about yourself because of this? And what do you know to be true about yourself? So after that, what do you know to be true about yourself? And if you could rewrite this story now, knowing what you would know now, what would you write? Like, what would you tell the past version of yourself? Beautiful. So this is a really intense process, and this doesn't happen in 5 minutes. And I would encourage you to, I'm going to put these questions specifically in an email because I actually wanted to go deeper into this and we don't have time today. But I would encourage you to continue going through this reframing process with a few different scenarios. And then maybe what I could do is record either an inner child healing or a reprogramming on this. I'm going to feel into the best way to kind of go through this because it was an exercise that we were going to do, but that's okay. I'll do something. And this Thursday, Marina is going to be our guest speaker, and you're welcome to join live on this Zoom link on Thursday, or I'm going to live stream it into the Facebook group, and you're welcome to do it into the Facebook group. And Marina, what would you prefer? The Facebook group or on here, or either one?
Either one. I guess here you can record both.
Yeah. I'll be live.
Then either one, I'm fine.
So Marina is going to be helping us ground with some self-pleasure practices. And the homework for this week is self-pleasure, bringing pleasure into the body and cultivating a relationship to yourself in pleasure. And pleasure isn't comfortable for everybody. For some people, it's extremely comfortable. For other people, it's not. And it takes practice and it takes a relationship. It's like developing a relationship between your physical body and, you know, your breath and your movements, your mind. And it's like connecting all of these elements together. And so this week, we're going to be building upon that. And you don't have to share this stuff on the Facebook group, but you can continue sharing your embodiment practices, like your sound, your movements, and then also tagging me on Facebook. I'm going to continue dancing every day. I know I haven't been tagging everybody, but I've definitely been dancing every day. And I'd love to continue dancing with you. And in our pods this week, we're going to talk about the sisterhood wound. And the sisterhood wound is really important. Does anyone know what the sisterhood wound is? No. Okay. It's basically, does anyone else know? Yeah. So it's basically when we are in a conflict with our sisterhood, meaning like we don't trust the women in our life. We're in competition with the women in our life. We are feeling betrayed by the women in our life, like our own sisters, our own friends. We are jealous of other women in our life, or they are jealous of us. They've been manipulative to us. They've betrayed us. And a lot of times, you know, this is really challenging, especially for women. It doesn't matter what age, but a lot of women experience this specifically, like when we're going through, like, you know, puberty and grade school and then high school and then college and then even into work. We still feel this gossip coming on and we feel all of these different elements. And then when we start moving into our sex life, it shifts even more. And so what causes this? At the root of the sisterhood wound is this, you know, men are able to give their seed to as many women as possible. Women select one man. And so naturally women are really intentional about who they select. And sometimes when two women select one man, there becomes this competition for this is the one, this is the thing that I want. And this manifests not just in sex, but in all areas of life. But this is kind of where the original wound stems from. And a lot of women who are, a lot of times this also stems from I like to call it the hook, right? So when women are either on either side of the hook, meaning when a woman uses sexuality to gain something, or when they are feeling that another woman is doing that to them or towards them. And so this is where it's really a beautiful process of coming into our sexual alignments. And this is also a beautiful process of looking at our own sexuality and then looking at our relationships and really feeling, where have I been betrayed? Where can I bring in forgiveness? Where have I been shamed? Where have I been hurt? Where have I been manipulated? Where have I done this? And then it's also like, the result of this is we dim our light. We don't want to be seen. We don't allow ourselves to like acknowledge ourselves in the process, or we don't really want to be friends with other women. You know, sometimes we're more comfortable being friends with men than women because it's easier and men are less catty. But at the end of the day, like a woman's bond and a sisterhood bond is like the most powerful thing in the world. And when we can heal these things and acknowledge that they exist and like go deep into them, we start to heal our own relationship to our sexuality, our own relationship to womanhood. And so throughout this process, I'm going to put a couple of questions in the homework for this week. Oh, let me just bring Marina back. And the questions are, how do we come together and heal and acknowledge our past? Where can I take responsibility for fully my actions and my emotions? And where can I not take responsibility for other people's? Yet, how can I hold space for other people to process their emotions? Because the responsibility isn't about, oh, I did this to somebody. It's about, oh, how can I hold space for them to process their emotions through this? And it's sometimes like when someone gets like in an incident, they freak out and they want to avoid it, or they're like, I don't know how to handle this. And they either don't want to, or they're not sure what to do. But we're going to go through a process next week about how to hold space for each other, how to create containers, how to be strong and firm when we are holding space, how to hold space for ourselves to process emotions, which we've been doing and will continue doing. And so this is a journey about finding alignment in our sexual energy in our sexual center, and choosing what's right for us in every moment. Because when we're in alignment with what we want, it doesn't like, we don't have to worry about women getting jealous. We don't have to worry about being, being like falling into these patterns of, oh shoot, I did this and maybe I shouldn't have. When we're following our intuition, we're listening so deeply, we're like, I know I'm supposed to be doing this. We can only take responsibility for ourselves fully. And we also don't need to take responsibility for other people's. And that is sovereignty at the end of the day. And the responsibility is, can I hold space for this person to process? Does that all make sense? So the sisterhood wound runs deep in every woman, whether we are easily friends with women or not. Like, I love women. I love being friends with women. And I know that there was a part of me that had the opposite of the sisterhood wound, where I literally would suppress my desires in men so I would save a sisterhood or a friendship. Like, oh, she likes him. Oh my God, I'm going to even bring you together. Like, even if I loved the man, I was like, no, you can have him. And there was a part of me that was also wounded in that. So we all experience this in so many ways. And it's really just like acknowledging it and having the conversation around it. And that's what our pods are going to be around this week. Where do we experience the sisterhood wound? Where have we found ourselves in betrayal? Where have we betrayed other women? Where have we betrayed ourselves in our sexual relationships? Where have we felt the shame? And then it's also about having compassion in that journey. And where can we claim radical acceptance of our path and step into forming a new relationship with women? And so that's what we're going to be diving into this week. So this week is all about self-pleasure. It's all about being naked. So finding time to be naked with yourself, like cooking naked, walking around the house naked, like dancing in front of a mirror. Maybe I like to call it mirror work, like making eye contact with a mirror and just dancing with yourself in pleasure, and just like really cultivating that relationship, not out of vanity, but out of self-love. Just like, wow, I love seeing this person in the mirror. I love dancing with her. And it's just about like receiving pleasure. And Marina and she'll tell you her background on Thursday, but she's been studying Tantra for so long, and she is going to be helping us step deeper into our self-pleasure and giving us specific practices so that you can take this to another level on Thursday. So with that, I would love us all to take ourselves off of mute, and we can rub our hands together. And I'd love you to give the biggest howl you could possibly give. Yeah.